Molly, thank you so much for having us. I'm so happy to be here in Charleston to get to see your design work. We spoke on the podcast maybe a year or so ago, and it's great to finally meet you in person and get to see your client space.
Yes, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for making the trip to Charleston. It's great to have you and to finally meet you in person. This project feels like a really fun and happy one to share with you all. So I'm excited to share it today.
Yeah. So tell me about the project. It's a young family, but how did they bring you in, and what were they looking for?
Yes, our clients approached us a few years ago. They had been living in the home. It's a historic neighborhood, and it's a very special part of town. They wanted to freshen up the home, give it an update. Big renovation. It turned into a little bit more than they kind of thought. But really, they wanted to bring in some color, freshen it up, and just kind of make it a little bit more livable for their family.
So when they started here, did they have kids and then they kind of had kids along the way? Or?
Yes. When they were living here, they grew their family. So when we started the project, they had 2 young children. They also found out they were expecting their third mid-renovation.
Oh, wow.
So it is a ranch-style home. They were also limited on not building up. And so keeping, 1 story, 1 level, really maximizing the square footage on the lot. And there are a lot of regulations in this neighborhood. It's a historic part of town. And so really just kind of getting creative with, there's actually 5 bedrooms in the home, technically. And so giving each child their own space to really kind of have their own area was important, but really bringing in color and just function too. So they had a kitchen that really was lacking in storage and function. And so really that was a fun part of the project because I kind of knew what they were lacking. They had lived in the home. They had a priority list of what do we really need for this to function for our family. So that was also really helpful to start a project where the clients had spent a lot of time and had really thought through what they needed.
Yeah, that is a little bit different, I would imagine, than building from the ground up, because you are very familiar with the, I guess, challenges of your current house.
Exactly.
So you know what you need to fix.
Yeah, so it was fun. And they, it feels like a young, happy home. So bringing in color and lots of finishes that would hold up for their busy family. They have 3 children under 5, I believe. And so really just, making it happy, bright, colorful, but very functional and livable for them was important.
Yeah, let's start in this room because, I know so many families really love that open concept floor plan because it gives you everything you need when you've got little ones that you want eyes on all the time. You can see them while you're cooking, all of it can happen here in this one room, but I'm sure that creates some design challenges trying to pack so much into a small space. So what were you kind of faced with here, and how did you solve any challenges there were?
Yeah, so the homeowners wanted a separate living, dining, and kitchen, but it's clearly all kind of one open space together. And so creating a dining room, but not formal at all. It's really just a dining table between the 2 spaces. We really wanted to also break up the living room. And so we pulled in a sectional. So really defining the space and kind of separating that from the dining room was important. But it was also important to create a soft color palette. So we stuck with white throughout. The walls are white, but we layered in lots of blues and greens you see. And from the kitchen all the way to the front of the home, the living room, it really feels like the palette flows nicely together. So that was important.
What about function? Because like you said, with 3 kids, all of the finishes really have to stand up.
Yes, definitely.
So what are kind of the things that are your go-tos when that durability is top of mind?
Yes, like many, performance fabrics are very important to us. So where we're sitting, the sectional and these chairs were actually the clients prior. So we recovered them in a little small scale performance fabric, a blue linen upholstered sectional, and then into the dining and kitchen, we actually did a faux leather seat on the dining chairs, just a really soft blue, and vinylized the fabric. We fell in love with this little fun, kind of playful blue and green for the kitchen, and it's a white kitchen. So wanted to bring in color with the stools, a little pop there that ties in the blue pendants. It's hard to sometimes sacrifice those little fabrics that we really want to use. And so we vinylized them, which was really fun. And so our clients, they can wipe down their dining and kitchen stools, no problem.
But that's amazing.
yes. And then, the wool rug, I love, just kind of a neutral wool rug that cleans well. And so it's held up for them. And, leaning into performance fabrics was number 1 for us for this.
Okay, I would think that most young families would be really nervous about a light rug.
Yes.
But you feel if it's wool, you're saying that it's
Wool
like,
cleans really well. I mean, you have to be careful. It's not going to be polypropylene, but it does really well. It's soft. We also treat it prior, so we do a little wool guard, but don't be afraid.
okay. Well, and I was curious too about the sectional because so many of us sort of have that white sofa as like the ultimate and sort of this like fantasy. But I love this light blue color because especially in an all white space where you're trying to keep a consistent wall color, it brings a lot of color, but it's still pretty soft and livable and not bold. So I was curious about like whether a blue sofa was something that made them nervous or were they like just gonna trust you?
They were great. They really trusted us, but blue in my book is, a neutral. I feel like it works, especially the soft blue. And we didn't want to go too bold. It's a large piece of furniture. It's a big sectional that really kind of closes off the living room from that dining space. And so having color, but not going too bold with pattern or too deep of a color, too much saturation. So we also really kind of leaned into the blues and greens with the kitchen. And so kept it pretty soft, but didn't want to go all white.
And I love how these two fabrics in particular, the little sort of dot on the chair, from far away, they kind of look like the same a little bit.
Yeah.
But then up close, you can kind of see. So it's not a matching set, but it feels, it's not like chaotic when you're sort of seeing it from other rooms. Yeah. I love how those sort of sit next to each other.
And this was also, like I said, a performance. So it was nice to find just a little detail that works with a lot of the pillow fabrics. We pulled in a larger scale floral and then a couple smaller scale patterns to kind of play off each other. So it was nice that it just felt, calm. It worked for a lot of different, there's a lot of toys and different primary colors that come into the mix. So it was nice that it just kind of felt like a soothing backdrop.
I always feel like with houses with kids, having more color helps because then your kids' colorful toys don't like jump out at you as much because there are other colors, to look at.
True. So yes, they embrace color. And as we, show you the home, I feel like we've had a lot of fun and let the kids here also speak to, their daughter's pink bedroom was a fun one. And so she wanted pink and we were like, let's go for it. So.
Yeah. You know what? That room is still very grown up as well.
Yes.
So speaking to sort of the open floor plan and having young kids, I think we all kind of love that open space where you can really kind of see from room to room. But then I also am curious when you're decorating for a family with young kids, that is so important. But then like they grow so fast. Did you make any choices that you knew were going to maybe help the house evolve over time, maybe when they're not in this phase where you need eyes on them all the time? Like how does that work when you're kind of working with a family where right now they have specific needs?
Right.
But in like 10 short years, they're going to have totally different needs.
Yes. Even, the stools at the kitchen island and, choosing just timeless kind of classic pieces that I know aren't really going to go out of style and they can layer in, if they want to kind of elevate the space more down the road and add, more formal details, I think they can. Even the large white coffee table, it's kind of a blank slate for styling and adding personal items over the years. But, right now they've got a 1-year-old and so it just functions and serves their needs now. But I think overall, keeping timeless, clean lines, classic furniture, and, just having kind of traditional details at the core that they can layer over time.
And what about in the kids' rooms? You kind of touched on that a little bit, but how do you set up a children's bedroom, once you're out of like the crib phase to know like this stuff is really going to function long term and it's going to serve all the different needs that they might have? At some point, they might need like a homework spot or like,
right.
How'd you account for that?
Yeah, in this home, I think for their daughter's bedroom, going, with true like adult size furniture. And so we did a queen bed and, knowing that the goal is that it will last her a long time. And so not having to redo it and choosing a fabric that feels really classic. It could work in a sitting room or a bedroom. And I feel like that was important to us, that she's not going to tire of it. It's not too much of a theme. Yes, we went pink, but it feels really feminine. And as she's even a teenager, hopefully she'll love it and can really grow in the space. So overall, I approach children's spaces just kind of knowing that, that period of time is so fleeting and that the goal is that the room lasts a while. Getting, a proper size dresser for storage. And so, choosing, we did a really pretty built-in there and creating functional storage for the kids as they grow. And, the toys grow and all of the things,
Yep.
and so can tuck it away. I feel like it's a mix, but having fun, letting them express themselves, but keeping it really classic and elevated at the same time.
What about the playroom? Because that's a great little space to have when you've got kids like that,
Yeah.
I'm sure anybody with young kids wants that playroom.
That was actually a bedroom that they, had, and we pulled in a sofa that pulls out so they can also accommodate family when they come to visit. But we had a lot of fun with paint in that space. And so, when you have to be kind of budget conscious, they're not going to invest a lot in different, fabrics and finishes in the playroom, knowing that room is going to get a lot of use and little ones. And so we painted the trim blue and really just had fun with paint in there and a little playful fabric at the Roman shade.
I loved the fabric on the Roman shade because I suppose Roman shades could break, but I also feel like, okay, it's up high.
Yes.
That's a plus.
Yeah. And that was a fun little pop-up color. We love that fabric. That playroom too, they have a daughter and 2 little boys, and so making it also feel gender neutral. So not too feminine, not too masculine, just kind of easy. And that blue is, classic. It kind of also flows from the kitchen into that space. We had fun with the little ottomans in there. So having fun with fabrics, but again, not going too far with everything.
It's a playroom most of the time, but then you said the couch is a sleeper couch. So anything that y'all did in there to make it to where it'd be more comfortable, I suppose, when it is a guest bedroom versus when it's a playroom?
Yes, we did a nice wool rug in there too. So it's very cozy. The kids can play on the floor, or if someone is a guest, visiting, they also have a guest bedroom, but it's very comfortable for an adult. And then of course the Roman shade offers blackout during, the day, so someone can sleep in there. But, we didn't go too over the top with the design, just kept it simple with, solid upholstery, classic rug, it's a check, and then had fun with the little Roman shade in paint color.
We kind of skipped over that little laundry room behind the kitchen, but anyone with kids knows that those functional spaces are so important and get so much use. So tell us about that little space and, what was it before the renovation and what did you put in there to really make it function for the family?
It really was just kind of a simple, back, kind of closet laundry room, a little storage, but we went with the green cabinets, and the tile was the starting point for that design. So we found this really beautiful hand-painted looking porcelain tile from a local supplier. And so, not being afraid of color in there, there's not a lot you can, do with that laundry space. So tile and the cabinet color, and then pulling in the green from this living space was kind of fun too. So it's not so much blue, just, making sure that green was carried through as well.
And what about storage in there?
Yeah, so we did some lockers with a little bench. We maximized, it's a small space, but maximized storage, and the cabinet design was crucial to give them, plenty of places to, hang clothes to dry, hide things, put the kids' bags up when they get home from school. So we definitely thought through kind of how we can, hide everything and fit as much as possible in that little room.
Yeah. Closed storage.
Closed, yes. We hid it all just to keep it looking nice too. It's a space right behind their kitchen range wall. There is a pocket door, but a lot of times, when they're having guests, they will see what's back there. And so just making sure that they can kind of hide everything away too.
Yeah, but it's still a if your guests see that laundry room, that's not a laundry room you're going to be embarrassed by.
Yes, I would love it. That green, when the client was like, oh yeah, I'll go green in there. It's like, okay, great. Because, a lot of times laundry can just be white and kind of simple, but having some fun in there was really nice.
You're in there a lot, especially when you've got 3 kids. So may as well make it a pleasant space to spend your time.
Definitely.
Well, and speaking of closed storage, we kind of skipped right over, obviously this room, it's the main living room, it's the dining room, it's the kitchen, but it's also the entryway. There's a little bitty entry closet, but you've got a ton of storage packed in here. So tell us about all sort of the storage in this living room.
Yeah, so you'll notice this home doesn't have, a formal fireplace and kind of traditional details in the living room. And so designing functional cabinet design was important, but also it's kind of a focal point. So we added picture lights over the built-ins. We dressed up the TV with the gold frame.
It's really hard to tell that is a TV.
I know. And so we wanted that to also feel kind of what a fireplace might feel like and kind of draw your eye in, kind of ground the space. And then, it offers them a lot of storage that kind of tucks everything away. So that was, kind of a wall that otherwise we wouldn't be able to put furniture there. You kind of walk into the space. And so creating that little nook and, bumping that back was really fun. And just a thoughtful, we got really creative with maximizing storage, like I said, in kitchen and even here. So
yeah, I imagine that those cabinets are all full of bins of toys.
They might be, yes, yeah, probably.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the little sunroom in the back or I suppose it's not a sunroom, it's a screened-in porch. Yeah, because that, we're here in Charleston. The weather is beautiful. It's a gorgeous day outside, so you want to be outside as much as possible, enjoying, the weather. So tell me about that space back there.
Yes, we spend a lot of time outside in Charleston, of course. It's hot in the, summer, but right now it's a perfect time of year. And that porch is screened in. So, mosquitoes, we always want to kind of keep them away. They were limited, like I mentioned, on, kind of the lot size and what they could do. It's a corner lot. So we went as big as we could with that screen porch. And then in the space, we wanted it to feel like an extension of the living room, the living spaces. We, pulled in some green kind of from that laundry room that you see kind of when you look inside the door, and maximize seating in there as well. So family of 5, and with family locally, they entertain a lot. And so we really wanted it to, seat as many people as possible, knowing it's a cozy space. For the fireplace, we just did a really simple stucco design, which kind of, rather than going too heavy with brick and a mantle, just kept it really simple, which was a nice detail that kind of just, knowing it's a smaller space, not taking up too much real estate there. But yeah, it was just kind of giving them a little cozy, comfortable space to kind of walk outside their kitchen and go spend time with their family. We also used some ottomans that were pulled in some more green and blue, a little fun leopard print. And we didn't really have space for a coffee table there. So it offers some seating, some, a place to put your feet up, or if they're entertaining, they can put a tray down and kind of serve snacks or whatnot. So that was kind of fun to come up with that too.
I love that little screened-in porch because I can certainly imagine that Mom and Dad love to sit in there while the kids are playing out in the yard. It's right there. You can see everything.
Yeah.
And just,
And they have a beautiful lot. And it really feels, and they did a turf in their backyard, but it really feels like the kids can just run and be free. And also the playroom, you look out to that porch too, which is kind of nice. So even if Mom and Dad are on the porch, they can peek in and see if the kids are inside. So it's nice.
So let's talk about the primary bedroom because we haven't touched on that yet. Is there anything that you like to do in a primary bedroom that you think is important, maybe is different than other spaces?
Yes, I generally like to keep the primary bedroom really soft and just kind of pleasant and really soothing. And so at the end of the day, I think it can feel just like a little sanctuary, kind of an oasis where you can really unwind. In this particular bedroom, we went with a really light blue-green on the walls. We did not want to bring in more white, so we had a lot of white throughout the main living spaces. So wanted to have a little paint color pop in there. But the client had some linens that we were, kind of working with. And so we leaned into those and pulled out, the blue-green. We added some really pretty linen drapes with a tape trim as well to kind of add a pop of color there. But the bedroom's really simple and just kind of soothing and not, we didn't go with too many pieces of furniture either, just kept it really simple.
Sometimes it's nice to have a smaller primary bedroom. It's less chance for things to get cluttery, I suppose.
Yes. And this is, they've got their nightstands and the bed and then just a dresser and, just kept it really, really clean and simple, which I love. And like I said, we used the linens and kind of leaned into that color palette from the fabric there.
But they do have a really incredible primary bathroom.
They do.
So tell us about picking finishes in the bathroom because that feels intimidating to me.
Yes, we love, construction renovation projects. And so gutting all the bathrooms, really gutting this whole home, but choosing finishes. In the primary bathroom, we chose a marble and pulled out some gray and brass details. So we went gray on the cabinets with white walls to kind of highlight the marble color palette there and kept it really classic. And then we added in chrome finishes for the plumbing, but then layered in brass sconces and cabinet hardware. So just kind of playing off the mixed metals there and just not going too cool. So kind of cool and warm tones mixed together.
Yeah, how do you do that right? I mean, you said that you were sort of pulling from the marble and emphasizing the marble. Is there any sort of right or wrong way to mix finishes?
My general rule is that if there's two elements in the space of the same finish, it works. And so, you know, keeping the plumbing all chrome, I feel like there's a lot of that throughout, and it started feeling a little cool with the gray. And so just kind of doing something different too, just not all white cabinets. I thought the gray was a nice contrast with the marble, but then I didn't want the space to feel too cool. But in my book, I feel like if you have two of the same finish, even in the kitchen, you know, mixing details, I think works as long as you've got a couple things in the space.
What about picking a white color in there? Because, you know, you kind of have two options. You can go for a cooler white, you can go for a warmer white. If you're using chrome and brass,
yes.
Which way did you go with the white color?
Yes, we actually use the same white throughout the home, which generally I feel like I try to do rather than switching with trim and paint color. But Benmore White Dove is a favorite white. I'm sure you're familiar with it. And so that's what we did in the bathroom. But it can go warm or cool depending on kind of what you pair with it. So I'm not a big fan of like the super cool white, bright white. And so just adding a little bit of depth to it, I think is important.
What about the other bathrooms? Because you've got some really fun little design elements in the kids' bathrooms.
Yes,
Would you call them the kids' bathrooms?
Yes. And so in their daughter's bathroom, it's sort of an ensuite and really leaned into that pink color palette. So we color matched her vanity to the pink that we carried throughout the trim and in her space. And we had fun with a little floral detail, a penny round. We popped in some pink penny rounds to create a little flower pattern on the floor. She is a girly girl and really loved pink, and the homeowner was open to it. I was like, let's have fun. And I think she'll still love it for years to come. It feels like it's just feminine and playful. And then for the other bathroom at the end of the hall, their son, that's his bathroom, but also serves as the powder room for the guests when they come over. And so we added a wallpaper in there and color matched the vanity to be a blue vanity and kind of, you know, tied that whole bathroom together with the wallpaper. So it feels playful for him, but also it's a classic wallpaper that I love and also works for a powder room.
It's really pretty in there. And just, you know, obviously a powder room with a wallpaper is just...
Yes, you have
always perfect.
I felt like we needed to have at least one wallpaper in the space, and that felt like the appropriate little bathroom to do it in. We kept, you know, chrome plumbing fixtures also in the children's bathrooms, and so just kept it really classic. Doesn't feel too over the top or feminine or masculine. Just really, you know, classic, and we'll work with them for years.
Well, thank you so much for showing us around.
Thank you, Caroline.
I'm so happy to be here in Charleston and getting to see your beautiful work. So.
Thank you so much for being here and for having me on. And it's great to be together.
For more house tours like this one, be sure to subscribe to the Ballard Designs YouTube channel and follow us on social media.